We pledged ourselves 50 years ago that we would provide health care for every man, woman, and child, irrespective of their color, their race, or their financial status, and by God, we're going to do it.
Tommy Douglas has been regarded as the greatest Canadian. He fought passionately for the universal healthcare system that has since been implemented. Canada is known worldwide for its exceptionally fair healthcare system. This universal system allows all Canadians to receive equal health care regardless of their nationality, age, financial status, or religion. It does not discriminate by any means. Douglas's work has helped form Canada's national identity by promoting Canada in a more positive light, improving our overall quality of life, and helping to form the nation we live in today. Without the universal healthcare system, Canada would not be the same. Lester B. Pearson, the 14th Prime Minister of Canada, has helped shape Canada's modern national identity in a great way. During his 2 terms, he succeeded in many ways. With a minority government, Pearson managed to introduce the universal healthcare system, the Canada Pension Plan, student loans, and on top of that, he implemented the Canadian flag we use today. Pearson's actions as Prime Minister have improved Canada and its national identity greatly. He has helped form our national identity by giving a universal symbol that all Canadians can relate to, as our flag does not represent a certain ethnicity in Canada, it represents the country as a whole. Pierre Trudeau was an important figure in shaping Canadian national identity. Although he was a somewhat controversial leader, Trudeau accomplished a great deal as Prime Minister. His accomplishments include the integration of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms into the Constitution, the suppression of a violent revolt, and the preservation of our national unity by opposing the Quebec separatist movement. He helped form and preserve Canadian identity by keeping this country whole and opposing the separatism movement in Quebec. He also promoted our civic nationalism by integrating human rights into our Constitution via the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of bleeding hearts around who just don't like to see people with helmets and guns. All I can say is go on and bleed, but it's more important to keep law and order in this society than to be worried about weak-kneed people who don't like the looks of a soldier.
At any cost? At any cost? How far would you go with that? How far would you extend that?
Well, just watch me.
In 1971, Canada was the first country to adopt an official multiculturalism policy. This policy reformed the way Canada was seen as a nation. It acknowledged that Canada had officially adopted 2 first languages and had recognized the values of a citizen regardless of their ethnicity, culture, language, or religion. This encouraged more diverse immigrants to move to Canada and gave foreigners the security they needed to come to Canada by allowing them to keep their original beliefs and culture. This has helped to shape Canada as a multicultural nation. Canada has been an active member in NATO since its founding in 1949. Prior to NATO, Canada sought out military security, which was guaranteed by the treaty they signed. While Canada had troops stationed in Europe, defending their own country and participating in the Korean War had stressed out the budget. This is when, in 1969, Pierre Trudeau withdrew many of the soldiers that were stationed in Europe and decided that he would participate in less acts of war and move on towards more peacekeeping. This peacekeeping policy had led to a new identity of Canada as a peacekeeper. Nationally, Canadians can now relate to the idea of being peaceful and not a war-driven country. A Canadian nation with national identity and a sense of nationalism is existing. Canada is mainly a civic nation where all people, regardless of ethnicity or religion, can share the same ethics and their own personal values without being discriminated against. Canada is a nation formed by a population willing and wanting to live under equal rights for all, and where these rights are embedded directly in our Constitution. Immigrants that come to Canada often come from countries that lack a solid human rights policy, and they desire to live in a country where these rights are imbued directly in law. Throughout our lifetime, Canadian nationalism will not change in an incredible way. Canada will only grow to be a more diverse nation with more people from cultures that are now respected and tolerated in our society. Canadian nationalism will only grow stronger as our country grows more diverse. Prior to the 1900s, Canada consisted of predominantly white European families that had immigrated here. During this time, Canada did not exactly have its own nationalism. It still resembled British culture greatly. Now, as we grow more diverse, we develop our own nationalism that is unique to our country.